multi-purpose. She is having surgery later this week to clear up a chronic Achilles issue, and I wish I could tell you which foot because I'm a little blurry about it. But, and she will miss the rest of the season. So because her contract is guaranteed for the rest of the year and everything else, nothing will really change. She will be a part of our organization here, getting her rehab and all of that. But we needed a roster spot. I met with her today and explained the whole situation. But in theory, because she can't play at all, can't practice or do anything, it made sense for both a cap reason that we could bring in another player if we had the cap room to do it, so we could pay her and do that. So she's done for the season. So that's kind of explains a couple things.
Mm-hmm.
When we did the deal today with Minnesota, we knew we were going to do this other one that we just did, if you've all seen your notice. Or we were pretty sure we were doing it. That's why we decided to waive a pupa to have roster spot for the deal we did later in the day. We've been in a fortunate position this year, despite all the other unfortunate stuff of the year, fortunate enough to have the cap space to kind of maneuver a little bit today to do some things. So that's why we have both waivers while we were doing everything else. The others, we did multiple trades. The reality is we're 6-21, and we've had injuries. We've had no way to really fully evaluate our team this year at all. I think our starting group has played, I don't know the exact number, but less than 100 minutes together the whole season. So that doesn't give you a very good touch point for some of the things you need to do. But we know that, as we've said before, going through the next couple drafts, we have an opportunity to do some things to bring in young players as we approach the new CBA and whatever happens with that. So we will have 4 draft picks in each of the next 2 drafts, 2 firsts, a second, a third in 25, and a first, 2 seconds, and a third in 26 at the end of all of this. So that was part of what we did. Maisha is on an expiring contract. Was going to be an unrestricted free agent this offseason, and clearly we have a priority right now of figuring out the players we will protect in the expansion draft and doing the other young players. So she will be a free agent and free to sign with anybody. So where we are in our season, an opportunity to get a draft pick and a young player like Sika Kone and take a look over the last month of the season and see what she looks like and if she can add to our future was a really good opportunity. And then the deal with Phoenix helps them in cap space and helps us recoup a 3rd round pick that we gave up in getting Jade this past year. So kind of makes our draft whole, and Shug is a good player in our league, and we'll just see what happens the rest of the season. She'll get a chance to play here, and we'll kind of have this month to figure out some things with our roster. But we're going to play our main players together and see, now that Shakira and Slim are back, it's an opportunity for us to kind of try some things. But the Carly injury didn't help with that either. And so we're going to just, hope our players go out and play hard every night and let the chips fall. They're going to be competitive, and we have a tough schedule, and just see what happens. But we're in a tough spot. We're 5.5 games back, or whatever it is, in the playoffs with 13 games to play. Reality has to set in. Kind of trade deadline days help you set your reality a little bit. So, further questions?
Hey, you've been working with, and you Had you been working, knowing Maisha had the contract up, had you been working on that for a while, or
No.
did that kind of come to that?
No, that came together this morning, actually. I know you had asked her questions yesterday and kind of set her back a little bit. We had no discussions particularly we had general discussions with 6 or 7 teams about all of our players in a sense. I mean, when you're in this situation, teams call about this player and another team calls about this player. We had not had any kind of specific trade for Maisha until probably 9 o'clock this morning. And so, I think Minnesota was probably, looking at different options for themselves. Mai's name had come up a while back, but there was any specific discussions about any parameters of a trade with them until this morning. We had another team call about her later last night, and we said no to it. That's kind of where we ended up.
We've talked.
Rumors are rumors.
Rumors
Reality
are
is
rumors.
what happened, in that time. And I know it's hard for players to believe that, oh man, you must have the trade going. Reality is you just listen and you figure out, does this help my team or does it not? And this morning we decided, and in Maisha's case, if I were Maisha, she's getting to go play for a playoff team right now and have a pretty good role. I think she's done a great job for us. I mean, she's been a big part of what we've done in the 7 years that she's been in the league. She's been a part of a championship. She was, second team All-League in the bubble. And then she had some unfortunate injuries. But right now, we know that other players are playing more, and here's a chance for us to get something, that makes sense.
We've kind of talked about it even since the last free agency period. Picks and cap flexibility. Is that essentially what you're trying
Yes.
to give to have options in
Yes.
these next couple
Yes.
seasons moving forward?
No question. All hell is going to break loose in the league after 25 if the players opt out, which everybody expects that they will. There will be over 100 unrestricted or restricted free agents in one fell swoop in January of 26. That's a lot. Teams need to be prepared for what that looks like and also have some good young players under contract. Teams that can have some rookie contracts going at that point will help themselves with cap room. I have no idea what that's going to look like, but I think you have to do your due diligence to be prepared for all kind of situations.
We've obviously heard about the strength of the 2025 and 2026 drafts, but when you kind of think about the depth of those drafts and how kind of rarely second and third round picks make an impact, why is it important to you to kind of restock those later round picks?
Well, I'll put it this way. Maisha, Emma, Natasha Cloud were all second round picks. So we've had some success. Jade Melbourne we got for a third round pick. Not necessarily you're even going to draft using those picks. Sometimes they're part of trades 6 months down the road, 8 months down the road, whatever it is. So the more things you have. The other part of it is in expansion, draft picks are never a factor. They are protected. You don't have, those aren't sitting out there for teams to take. So that's a really important part, to have some other ways to go get players or combine draft picks to do something if that's what you need to do. I just want to have a lot of flexibility. And basically the way it turned out, we traded a third for Jade. We got a third back today for a player that may not ever play here. It's a wash. It's, in a sense, I mean, you want to do the math, it's like getting Jade for free in a sense. So that's usually a win.
And you mentioned kind of reality setting in with where you are. As the general manager, what are you looking for in the rest of the season to say you're on the right track or making progress in whatever way that means to you?
Well, I think there's a couple different ways. Number one, Shakira's progress back from her injury is, a big developmental part of what we do. She's missed a lot of time. She and Slim are still on minutes limits, but that will increase, I assume, over the next couple weeks. Let that group of players, that were contemplated as starters, as many of them play together and see what that looks like. Let us have some knowledge going into the offseason of what works and what doesn't work. We haven't been able to do that all year. Slim went down in game 2. So it's made it very difficult to get a true picture of our team. So I want to see if we can get a picture of what some of these players look like playing together. Give Aaliyah Edwards and Jade and those guys, a chance to keep playing more. See what happens, grow their game through the rest of the season. Those are all really valuable things to be doing right now.
Maisha was a player, like you said, you drafted her in the second round. A lot of time invested in her and development and getting her to the point where she is at now. For you as an organization, what's it like parting with a player at this point in your career? Understanding what you already said, but
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. I think one of the hard parts of the job, there's 2 days in a year that are hard. When you cut people during training camp and when you have to trade somebody. Those are tough days, particularly when somebody like Maisha has been a big part of what we've done. But we've had ongoing discussions with our team. Start of the year, this is a business. I mean, players want to have more options. In free agency, they want to have more money. They want to have this. Well, this is also part of it. And I don't have any joy in doing that. There's none. I think it's hard for fans to understand. It seems callous in some ways it is, but in some ways it's kind of when you get into when you want to be a pro athlete or pro coach or pro GM, it's what you signed up for. And so, there are going to be days like this, whether I want them to happen or not. It's tough.
moving Maisha,
Yep.
you mentioned Aaliyah. How do you see this kind of opening up her, giving her more minutes? You had a lot of front court players, not everyone's healthy. It could have made things a little bit difficult.
It was going to get tough. I mean, Emily has gotten kind of squeezed in this a little bit. It gives them an opportunity to hopefully play extended minutes and, develop and get better. Rookie year is a big year in the development of the player. And, luckily the top rookies in the league this year have been able to play and contribute. And, we're just trying to see some more growth from Aaliyah. She's done some things really well. There's things that, she's going to have to keep working on.
Did they? I'm sorry.
That's
I was just curious. You mentioned protecting people when the expansion draft comes around. Have they given you guys an idea of?
I think the rules will be coming out sometime soon.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've kind of been able to go on the parameters of the last time it happened, and I don't think it'll be radically different from that. But I think that's something that there still has to be worked out between Golden State and the Players Union and teams. So I'm assuming we're going to get that reasonably soon because we're getting close to the end of the season.
Mm-hmm. And you have, and anybody who's on a rookie contract they're already protected.
No.
Right? No.
No, in
Or-
expansion, no.
Okay.
It's the draft picks. I mean, I'm talking about
Yes,
future picks can't be touched.
Gotcha. That's obviously some moves today. I guess as coach, how do you kind of, first off, kind of have that kind of conversation with the team? Maisha has been here for so long. It's been, such a big piece of the winning that you guys have had here. How's a move like that kind of affect you and the team and kind of that kind of part?
Yeah, I mean, first thing I'd just like to say thanks to Maisha. Publicly, obviously, we've talked to her privately, but for everything she's given us here, it's a huge success story when you have a second round pick contribute to a championship and then have the type of season she did in the bubble that year, and not just individually, but I've got a real soft spot for everybody that went through that bubble experience with us together. We all kind of got each other through, and has bounced back from her injuries to contribute the last couple of years, and I'm glad she's going to a good situation with a team that's contending, and we wish her well, obviously, and nothing but the best down the road. So it's weird. I mean, it's tough for players and staff in terms of people have long relationships with her. It's hard to separate the personal and the business sometimes. And it's not ideal having it be on a game day, We haven't even had a chance as a full team to convene yet since the trades went down. So weird. We're all kind of working through it in real time, but that's why we're all professionals. We'll turn around and get ready to play tonight.
Mike talked about, this opens up opportunities to, get to see more combinations, get to see more people on the team. Specifically, Aaliyah, how big of an opportunity is this kind of for her, and how do you kind of envision, just getting her more work with what I assume is going to be more minutes?
I mean, I think she's going to have a consistent opportunity and consistent role, hopefully. We also have Shakira we're working back in the rotation, so some of those minutes go a couple different ways,
Mm-hmm.
and probably opportunities for other people like Emily as well. But at the same time, that's what it is. It's an opportunity, and people gotta to jump on it and seize it, which I expect they will. Where we are in the season, I said it to you yesterday, and part of what this year was about was making sure that we develop pieces players who we think are going to be important for us going forward. Aaliyah is obviously a big piece. Shakira, people on the perimeter as well. So, that's been a focus and will continue to be a focus.
Thank you.
From a player development perspective, with the players that you just got in the trade, for both of them, just can you talk a little bit about kind of what you think their upside might be and kind of what the timeline looks like for developing them?
Yeah, I don't want to say too much because honestly, when these things are happening, you're not sure how it's going to shake out till it shakes out. So it's, Sika is obviously I think she completes our little trio of the youngest players in the league, and I think it says a lot that she is still as young as she is. She's stuck with a couple teams the last couple years. A really good athlete. I think she's got some skill. Adjusting to the league for a young player at that age is always challenging, but she's been around some good teams already. So we'll see. I mean, we're excited to get her in the building and add her to our group. We hear great things about her work ethic and her personality. So it'll be fun to get to know her. And then, Shug, obviously, we know a little better. Liked her enough to draft her. Liked her enough to have her in the bubble with us and bring her back to start the next year. And it's been fun to watch her develop from afar. Had a little bad luck with some injuries, but she can pass. She can run pick and roll. Those are skills I really like. So still only 25, I believe. Am I off on my math? I think it is.
Sure.
Somebody can double check for me. But still young, and hopefully has really good years in front of her.
When do you expect them both to be here?
I think some of that's in the works right now. I would imagine before we play Friday.
And then just, with the players that you do have, talking about player development and the importance of that this season, can you share an example of like a player development win that you've had this season with somebody, like something that you think your staff has really, helped somebody get better at that you've noticed?
Hope there's a bunch. Hope there's a bunch of wins. Even if they're not evident publicly sometimes to people, but I'll just give an obvious one. I mean, we got Jade Melvin for a 3rd round pick, and she, I think, people already see some of the strides she's made between shooting the ball and attacking the rim, and I think she's a much better player than she was a year ago. And that's not all down to us. I mean, she had a good overseas experience, good Olympic experience with Australia, but a lot of the work that you're doing with players to develop them, sometimes you don't see till down the road. It might be how they take care of their body and how they study film and what they learn about coverages and our schemes. And so some stuff shows up right away. Somebody's finishing or somebody's shooting, and other stuff, especially for young players, is about learning the league and kind of what the plan is for them to be successful.
Last thing for me real quick, you mentioned not having a chance to come together as a team and really talk about this. Do you do that in the locker room, between now and
There'll probably be a little bit, that we would normally have. But we, the game starts at 7, so we got to be ready for that too.
Thanks.
9 players tonight, is that right?
I have to double check my math a couple times, but I think I'm at 9. I think I'm at 9 for tonight. Or at least 10, 11, yeah.
Asking 9 after I double check my math. So
Mhm.
Back to Aaliyah, what are you looking for her to be able to do with potentially those minutes, being able to come out with Maisha being gone and having 13 games down left for the rest of the season?
Yeah, I think we gotta be careful not to overhype the huge change of minutes. I mean, she's gonna play, and she's been playing. She's been playing. Some nights it'll be more, and some nights maybe not. But I think things we expect is her to keep. She's gonna get tough matchups every night, and she's gonna get them tonight. So can she learn something from those experiences every time? Can she continue to? She made growth from the start of the year as we've gone through the year on her finishing. So can she continue to finish around length? Free throw shooting, defending, understanding scheme. She does a lot of good stuff already, but sometimes it's the backside rotations or understanding when I'm the help, when I'm not the help. That's all the stuff that we're kind of keeping tabs on day to day.
And this team's been a very resilient team. Went through the 0-12 stretch, had that tough loss in Minnesota this past weekend. But you feel like the team has kind of responded and to be ready for this next game, because Seattle's not a team that you can look past either.
No, very much not. And I thought we had a good day yesterday, coming in and being honest about some things we need to work on, and I hope we see some improvement in